This is part 2 of the Milwaukee Public Museum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The next exhibit is the Rainforest, and what's really cool about this is that they have an indoor replica rainforest, along with some replica rainforest wildlife, along with some real taxidermy. There's the sloth, one of the greatest species to ever roam the earth. And there's a taxidermy two-toed sloth. That's a large arapaima fish. There's a bunch of colorful rainforest parrots and avians. This wax scientist is working in his field lab. And there's a wax scientist in a modern lab. Now entering the dinosaur exhibit, there's a Triceratops skeleton. You can see a puncture wound in its skull, probably due to another dinosaur. There's a bunch of minerals. The exhibit continues through a reproduced cave. There's some sedimentary rock with fossils, as well as some other animal fossils. In the late Paleozoic era, southeastern Wisconsin was positioned near the equator, and a big tropical coral reef blossomed. There's a Stegosaurus. This is perhaps the most iconic display here at the Milwaukee Public Museum, a T-Rex eating the guts out of a dead Triceratops. The display is so well known because it is a little graphic, especially for the plentiful children who have grown up coming here, as the Triceratops guts are wide open. This scene depicts Hell Creek in eastern Montana 66 million years ago. There were a lot of big dinosaurs there. That's a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull. And they have more skeletons of prehistoric Wisconsin wildlife. Here is the Ice Age mammoth, bison, and saber-toothed cat. There's a lot of Ice Age land formations that are still visible in Wisconsin, as the big Pleistocene era glacier did move forward here 12,000 years ago and then later retreated. This exhibit is on the first Americans. Here are some artifacts from the beginning of European settlements and fur trading in North America. Here in Wisconsin they were primarily French and then later British. This display depicts a Great Plains bison hunt. This is a really great and realistic diorama. Here's a little secret. If you look carefully at the base of the display, you can find the old snake button. When you press the button, it makes the rattlesnakes rattle rattle. There's a model of a buffalo jump, when the natives would chase the bison off a big cliff. This display shows a modern Wisconsin woodland powwow, featuring the Wisconsin tribes of the Menominee, Ojibwe, Oneida, Potawatomi, Stockbridge Munsee, and the Winnebago.
Summer cloud singers, led by Rich Wabano Wanape.
This is a Tlingit mortuary pole. This one is from southeastern Alaska, and it was at the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. This is a deer in Washington's Olympic rainforest. These dioramas depict northwestern tribes like the Tlingit collecting fish and building canoes. This is a Hamatsa ceremony, where the religious orders of the Pacific Northwest perform dramatic performances that lasted several weeks. Those are seals at a Pacific tide pool on the west coast. What I really love about this area of the museum is that it's just like New York City's American Museum of Natural History. They have taxidermy with old hand-painted backgrounds depicting regional locations. This display is on the Pono basket weavers. We're now in the Southwest with Pueblo-style architecture. This miniature is of a family's private home quarters in the Pueblo. There's a bunch of Kachina dolls. There's a mountain lion about to attack a deer on the cliffs of the Grand Canyon. A saguaro cacti. A display on the Seminole of Florida. There's a gator. It's a manatee. There's some wild turkeys roaming in the woods of Georgia. There's poop running down the sides of these cliffs. This whole area is based on Wisconsin wildlife and Native Americans. There's a brown bear and its cub that accidentally got in a bee's nest, and they're now being brutally attacked. There's some cranes. This is a figure of an Iroquois in Wisconsin. Examples of beadwork of Wisconsin tribes. There are some beavers. A collection of taxidermy of rare Wisconsin birds. Some coyotes. Wisconsin mammals. I really like the suspended birds in the hand-painted sky. This scene depicts the Horicon Marsh here in Wisconsin, the largest freshwater cattail marsh in the country. The very extensive exhibit halls of the fourth floor showcase taxidermy and culture of the entire world, which is so awesome. In this scene, there's an indigenous Australian with Uluru in the background. A costume from a Balinese dance drama, that's pretty interesting. This is a highly decorated Taiwanese fishing boat. There's a large boa constrictor, and some orangutans in the tree. There are a lot of artifacts from Southeast Asia. There's way too much to look at and focus in on up here. This is a marketplace in urban India. With an elephant roaming the streets. There are some tigers about to kill some longhorned cows. This is a replica Hindu temple. This looks like a Japanese gate, and there's some antique painted screens in there. This depicts a Japanese home, and these people are playing some old card game. A Buddhist shrine. That's really beautiful. Some Chinese hand-carved items, some out of ivory, along with some Chinese ceramics. This is a samurai shop. We're now in the Arctic, where a polar bear is sneaking up on a poor seal family. Some Eskimo ice seal hunting and equipment. This is what an igloo home was actually like. There's a sled dog team. Some bighorn mountain sheep. These elk are probably fighting over a doe. This display is on the Pacific Islands, where some cultures used human skulls as decorative elements. A replica Maui Easter Island head. Some South American pottery and technology. These are all relics of the Nazca, who predated the Inca in southern Peru. Some Mochica relics, they were in northern Peru around the same time. This scene shows the discovery of a Peruvian mummy. There are plenty of examples of gold from Central America. Some Western Mexican sculpture. There are some relics from Teotihuacan, the largest city in the pre-Columbian Americas. This is the Amazon rainforest. There's a llama in the Andes. These are the Milwaukee Public Museum's shrunken heads. You don't find many of these outside of auditoriums, and these were made by the Jivaro of modern Ecuador. They were a very fierce tribe, and the successful warriors would prove themselves by shrinking the heads of their victims. And this is a wax figure of a headhunter. Here are some modern African arts. Here they actually have artifact displays representative of almost all modern African countries, at least based on distinctive historical cultural differences. There's a bunch of great taxidermy of African wildlife. That's the anteater. There's a bunch of ceremonial masks and musical instruments. This is a really cool scene of a lion hunt. Who do you think would win? There's so much cool and rare taxidermy here, like some zebras. That's the magnificent African bull elephant. Some rhinoceroses, a group of lions, that's awesome. And this area is a display on Latin America, with artifacts from most regions of Mexico. So this museum is absolutely fantastic. It has to be one of the best displays of world natural and human history in the United States. I think it is absolutely perfect the way it is now, but I guess we'll see how they change it in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching.